Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
The hateful and religiously motivated trolling of fast bowler Mohammad Shami after India's loss to Pakistan in the T20 series, as well as Fab India being forced to withdraw its Diwali ad which had the slogan Jashn-e-Riwaz, tells us something. And what it tells us is that the language of India today is dominated by majoritarianism and that India is stuck between aggressive Hindutva and soft Hindutva. The BJP in the early 90s brought in and ushered in this era of Hindutva, changed the language of India's socio-political milieu, and the current leadership under Narendra Modi and Amit Shah have only cemented it, bringing in a language where Hindutva reigns supreme and where there is toxicity, there is relentless othering of the minorities. But there is little doubt that the opposition has done nothing to counter it and has in fact aided the BJP, has facilitated the BJP in making this India's dominant language. Why do I say that? That's because the opposition has learnt this language, is actively practicing it, it's playing catch up with the BJP and has become a Hindutva-laden opposition itself. No amount of the opposition showing solidarity to Shami and others or for other instances can take away from the fact that the opposition is equally responsible for creating this toxic majoritarian language that India is speaking today and the environment of hate that we see around. If you look at the recent instances, as I've mentioned, Fab India, for instance, came up with this ad, Jashn-e-Riwaz for Diwali, and little did it know that an ad which it thought had a nice ring to it, a slogan which it thought had a nice poetic ring to it, would turn out to be so controversial. It was forced to withdraw the ad. Boycott Fab India began trending on Twitter in no time. BJP leaders, BJP members, the right wing accused Fab India of defacing Hindutva, of furthering Muslim ideologies for a Hindu festival. And in fact, let me quote BJP leader Tejasvi Surya, who said the ad was a deliberate attempt of Abrahamization of Hindu festivals, and that tells us everything. Essentially, even a Muslim sounding name is now offensive, something that the Hindutva Brigade has to oppose. Then then had this controversy, it barely died down, that we see India losing quite embarrassingly to Pakistan in the T20 match, and Mohammad Shami, by virtue of his religion, became the obvious target of attack. There was relentless trolling, there was despicable trolling, and a lot of people, including the BCCI, have come out in support, in solidarity of Shami. They were forced to come out because the trolling was so offensive and so unnecessary, so unwarranted. But these are just some of the recent instances of this changed language that India is speaking. We have extreme versions like lynching of Muslims for possession of beef or for stealing. Then you have online campaigns which have been against Muslims. Then there are campaigns like the Love Jihad campaign and the relentless othering of Muslims. That seems to have become the dominant narrative in India now. Now, Rahul Gandhi was quick to express solidarity with Shami, but let's not forget, as I've mentioned earlier, the opposition is equally responsible for what we are seeing today. Rahul Gandhi is a proud Janeu-wielding Hindu. We know how he sort of flaunted that, how his party flaunted that. He makes no bones about very public visits to temples ahead of important assembly elections. He made this very public visit to Shiva's abode ahead of an important campaign season. The Congress in every way has been flirting with Hindutva, and as Asaduddin Owaisi told our political editor D.K. Singh back in 2018, Rahul Gandhi is practicing actual Hindutva and not soft Hindutva. Look at the other main opposition leaders. Arvind Kejriwal, he's doing puja in Ayodhya. This is after his party took out a Tiranga Yatra in Ayodhya. So there is a lot of, religious symbolism to that. Mamta Banerjee, she recited the Chandi part ahead of the West Bengal Assembly elections. And mind you, these are the two strongest opposition leaders at this point who've managed to halt the Modi juggernaut in their respective states. And if they've had to jump into the bandwagon and speak the same language as the BJP, then there is little surprise that the Congress, which is a sinking ship, looks towards Hindutva as its lifeboat. Look further, there is Akhilesh Yadav of the Samajwadi Party in UP, again speaking the language of Hindutva. Mayawati has mixed her Dalit politics with a dash of Hindutva. So everybody really is clamoring for that Hindu vote, for the majority vote, which obviously gives the majority the idea that that's the only important community in the country. So with all politicians flocking towards this vote bank and putting a premium on the majority vote, the language that India is speaking is obviously the language of the majority. Forget about everybody else. Even the CPM in Kerala has been flirting with Hindutva, so that really does tell us something. And this language of politics has seeped deep into our socio-political milieu, into our discourse, which really has become a very linear version of the rights of the majority versus what it imagines to be the threats posed by the minority, and everything that is said, everything that is done comes with that. So Shami and Fab India are mere manifestations of what India is witnessing right now, and the opposition really simply cannot pat itself on the back for making statements or for tweeting in support of Mohammad Shami or other such instances, because they're equally responsible. They have not fought the BJP's idea of Hindutva. They might take solace in the fact that their version of Hindutva is less potent, but at the end of the day, it is Hindutva. It is as obvious, it's as opportunistic, and frankly, it's quite desperate, because that's perhaps not the opposition party's natural turf, and yet they are doing it only for electoral and political gains. Basically, to put it bluntly, the opposition has been an enabling force, a facilitator, if not a catalyst, for the BJP's attempts to turn India into a majoritarian country where anything remotely to do with the Muslim community is considered to be evil. The opposition needs to look itself in the face, in the mirror, and admit that it's just as responsible as the BJP for turning India into an intolerant, parochial nation. For more, you can log on to our website, theprint.in, to read my column Politics.